Hey, everybody, we're live on an incredible day. And allow me to introduce my two friends. First of all, I'm going to start with the guy on the phone who I'm literally holding in my hand. I've known Ignacio de la Fuente since 1993. Geez, do you realize we go back that far, Ignacio?
Oh yeah, when I was 10, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm going to cut to the chase. I'm endorsing these two gentlemen for Mayor 1 and 2, Ignacio 1, Seneca 2, for this reason. We're in crisis. And I believe that it's very important to have someone who knows the city, who's been there in crisis before, who isn't in the place where they're a council member, not finishing their term, but running for mayor, or going one term and then thinking they got it, but don't even understand tax increment financing, and yet are running for mayor. And in the case of Seneca, I think it's extremely important that we have Mr. Scott involved in some kind of way, either as mayor or in any position, because he is willing to take a new, fresh look, an honest look at problems. And he isn't married to political convention as a Democrat. Oh, wait, I got Ignacio. Hey, where we are. Yeah. I did this.
My IT person.
Welcome. How you doing?
I'm good.
So as I was saying, Seneca's not married to convention as a Democrat, but now I want to come back to Ignacio, who I know for a long time. I mean, 3 decades. Yeah, 3 proud decades.
At least.
Yeah. And I remember my first interview with him was when I was with the McLaren, and having actually worked in redevelopment, and that was over the struggle around the takeover. Takeover is a bad term, but considering that my other good but late friend George Vukasin really had a stranglehold over it, Ignacio said, "You know what? This is our money now." And so what he was talking about was when the Raiders deal went bad, and he says, "Our money now, and we have to take responsibility for it." And this man led the changeover to what is now the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum Joint Powers Lawyer we're used to. Folks, the original JPA was just supposed to be the city manager and the city administrator meeting quarterly, and that's it. Okay? He turned it into a deliberative body. He made it responsible to the public, and he has done a great many things since then. Ignacio is a well-known union leader, but he's a well-known leader. And not only that, what I most like about Ignacio is you can disagree with him, but you can party the heck with him anytime you want. He holds his disagreements in their proper place. He realizes that we're all people. And so because he's that way, he's the best person I know of to this day to really make a deal with people, to really understand how to solve problems, get both sides of an issue together in one room, sit down, even a virtual room, sit down and make a deal and make a difference. And we need that right now. We need someone who gets that way of making deals, way of being an old line Democrat, because we're at a place where even our party is at edges. You know what I mean? We need someone to bring us back to the middle, who understands the value of jobs, affordable housing, big business, small business, isn't trying to demonize one for the other, and comes from an era at a time we had 3 sports teams and knows what that means and understands it and doesn't trash it, and doesn't trash the meaning within that of having a healthy city that has many things for its citizens to do and many types of job levels, so that you're not left unhoused. And so I'm more than pleased. And I would be remiss if I did not add that we have had our first female Asian mayor, our first white female mayor. We have never had a Latino mayor or Latina. Think about that. Think about it. We're past time. And I say this as a proud advocate for those who let me in public professional positions, but I'm also a child of Oakland, and I understand the need for representation. And from the perspective of Latino politics, arguably at the mayor's office, we haven't had it. So, Ignacio, I
Thank you,
endorse
sir.
Mayor.
Happy to be here. Long time no see, Seneca. Like yesterday.
And
Anyway,
Seneca, I want to thank you for being the number two because, again, you're not, it's not a matter of being afraid to speak truth to power. I'm going to twist that. You're not afraid to speak truth powerfully. Okay. You see, particularly with respect to the unhoused, the problem. You're willing to attack the institution, but be a part of the institution. In effect, you are a corporate heretic, and we need corporate heretics. So this endorsement, I've never done it this way in my entire life, but I believe it's important to do so. This endorsement sends a message that we can't do business as usual, that we really have to have a mix of a little bit of the old, a little bit of the new to create something brand new. And that's what you two gentlemen represent. So, hey, Ignacio, what do you think? Your thoughts?
Zennie, thank you. Thank you for that introduction. I think that you're right. You and I know each other for maybe more than 3 decades. And you and I used to have this great discussions with our late supervisor, Mary King, my good friend. We used to battle a lot, but we were very good friends. And it was a kind of unfortunate passing. Like my friend, I'm gonna take the opportunity to Georgia Richardson. I don't know you know that Georgia
Yes.
passed away a few days
Yes.
ago. A beautiful person, a good friend, good advisor, and really untimely passing. And still in shock, but I guess all of us understand that that's the reason why we have to do the best we can now, right? Not wait and not trying to fix the world, but Oakland. We live here. We some of us were born here, some of us not, but some of us are going to die here. And I think that Oakland is a place that is an incredible place. We always say that, kind of a cliche, right? But right now we're in pain. I mean, and it's very, and some people don't even admit, they don't even want to see it, that we're in pain, that our neighborhoods are suffering, that our residents are really afraid to walk out, don't even put the garbage at night. It's something that is just not acceptable. I was talking to staff a little while ago with my people here, and about what happened in Oakland Tech, right? With a soccer practice, they became a shooting gallery, right? With kids playing. So somebody approached me today talking about, oh, well, now at some of those events, they need to have a metal detectors, so people can, be protected, this, that, or the other, right? My first reaction is, maybe we have to, but you know what? That's the problem. I think Seneca agrees with me. One of the problems is that we have normalized all these things in Oakland. We have allowed people to kind of believe, that this is normal. That somehow we have to clean up the glass in the morning because somebody broke our windows at night. That somehow we have to close our business early because we're afraid. And you walk down the streets, see glass in every block, and it has become normal. Same thing with the shooting, right? Thank God that none of those children got shot, right? But now is the metal detectors the answer? Probably not. Maybe the median moment answer, but I'm afraid to again normalize. This happened. That's okay. Today was Monday, tomorrow's Tuesday, and normal. And I think it's time for this elected officials, for the city council, for the mayor, to first really accept the fact that we're in trouble, that we have these challenges, right? And we have to fix them. We have no choice. I believe that we're doing a disservice to our houseless population just by letting these encampments grow. On one hand, we say, oh, poor people, we have to do. And the other hand, we allow this thing to happen and to grow with absolutely no implementation of our management policies, nothing, right? It's just talk. And I think that's the reason why some of us are running. time to talk has passed, and people are suffering, and I believe that we can contribute to get Oakland back on track and being better. And I think that some of us realize what limitations are, and some of us understand that you cannot fix everything. But if we fix the two major things, which is crime, which is the people being shot, the people being businesses broken into and robbed, and we manage with the homeless encampments that are destroying some of our residential neighborhoods and some of our businesses, to me is priority, and everything else will come with that. I really believe that. Obviously, we need additional police officers, but actually we need more to make sure that we do our jobs, that we respond on time, and that they get the political support that they need to actually do their job, which we know is an incredible job for the men and women in OPD. So that's the reason why I think that we're running, because I think that it's time, and hopefully the citizens of Oakland wake up and the businesses wake up. The last thing I'm going to say, I want to turn over to Seneca, is that for some reason, and I'm not speaking behind anybody's back, I have told the Chamber of Commerce, I have told the Rental Housing Association, I have told the East Bay Realtors Association, all these organizations that have been so passive, that they are very silent for many different reasons. It's time to speak up. It's time that this time around, you have to use your resources. You have to make sure that your members know that this election for mayor is critical. I mean, we always say that, but it's really critical, because I don't think that the people, some of the people running, with all due respect, nice people, nice individuals, but I think it's going to take somebody with real political backbone to make the decisions that we need to make. That's the reason why I'm running after 10 years of being out, Zennie, and hopefully I can still contribute to the betterment of Oakland.
Seneca?
You said 10 years, Ignacio? I came right when you was taking a pause, huh? So I don't want to be redundant, because he said it all in terms of the crime and homeless, and we all know this stuff. This is what's so incredibly frustrating. It's because we all know it, but when it comes to certain people in our elected government right now, and I'm going to be nice out of respect and take a lead from my elders, because I will say names, you know me, I don't mind name dropping, but individuals in government right now who are failing us, we can't even come to an agreement of facts before we even debate about possible solutions. And you can't proceed with a debate until you have an agreement of facts. The fact that we have people claiming in interviews, mayoral candidate, Councilmember Tile, sorry, I'm just going to have to let people know what's going on. They're in the interviews claiming crime's down. Look it up, use your Google. Crime is actually down if you compare it to last year. Last year is your benchmark? Post-COVID is your benchmark? Like, it's just a joke right now. But this is repeated by these so-called progressives. Crime's down, it's your perception of crime that's up. Because they can't defend the indefensible, crime's up because of their policy. And they want to talk out of both sides of their mouths. That's called duplicity. That's called a freaking liar, what I call it. And then you have the nerve to go to these businesses that are impacted by crime, can't go to sleep at night, health problems, desperate, screaming for help from the elected. And then you tell them you're going to help them out of this side of your mouth, or the other side of your mouth, you tell the people, well, crime's not really, people don't report the crime anymore. Why report it? If 20% of your 911 calls go unanswered, I think it's safe to say 20% of those calls are going unreported. This is the basic level stuff. So I want to come to an agreement of fact before we can proceed with a debate on how we come up with some policy that will work instead of doing the same old dumb stuff over and over again, right? Here's a fact. Crime's up near historic levels, if not over. That's a fact. Here's another fact. Capital is not coming to Oakland right now. All the claims you see, they were already paid for, the permits already bought. Businesses are divesting and neighbors are leaving because we can't get our crime under control. Officers are leaving. We have the same candidates, Councilperson Tile and others, talking about lateral hires. That's a joke. We ain't getting no damn lateral hires in Oakland. You lost your mind. This is hopium. These people are not serious. They're a clown show right now in City Hall. So I like Ignacio. You know, I don't have 20-year history. It's more like a 20-day history or maybe a little more. But, you know, I've been working really hard to be competitive for mayor, and part of that is raising money. And a lot of people who gave me money are very important people in Oakland. And it wasn't easy for me to get money from some of these individuals. And it took a lot of hard work and proof of concept that my ideas were good ones. And I could make it work because, you know, no one owes anyone anything. So you just work harder, right? So if you want to help your city and you want to get some help, you just keep going back until you turn a no into a yes. And so I started getting no's, and Ignacio got in a race, and I met with him, and I was like, oh, this guy's cool. And I asked him to come to a fundraiser, and he said yes. And I didn't say, can I come watch? I said, can I come raise some money for myself, for me, so I can win? He's like, yeah, no problem. That's what integrity looks like. Number one, it's not phase. It's this room, right? But second is that's integrity. You want the election process to have good candidates so Oakland can pick from people who want to help. We have a lack of integrity in our city hall right now, from the top down. These are not honest people. I don't even think they're well-intentioned. I used to say the road to hell is paved with good intentions to try to give them the benefit of the doubt that their shitty ideas were at least well-intentioned, but I can't even say that anymore. We found out this week that only less than 20% of our Black kids in Oakland can read, in a Time magazine article. And the reason why is because you instituted some progressive policies because you like, after continuous years of regular phonics working, because they want to claim that all of a sudden it's somehow racist for use big words. I'm sorry, this man right here in the wall, Frederick Douglass, you can't see him. He learned how to read as a slave. Go back and read the stuff he was writing. He was using hella big words. That is such a defeatist attitude. That shows no imagination. That is not self-determination. That's not what my ancestors fought for. That's not what Coretta Scott King, my cousin, died for, or her husband died for, or Malcolm, or any of these people on that wall that you see behind me died for. That's a bullshit. I mean, I don't want to curse because you got a family audience here, Zennie. But so that's why I'm running. We need someone who's just gonna call it like it is. That is a qualified candidate, and I don't need to repeat my bona fides here, but I'm qualified. If I can negotiate contracts for every single city in the East Bay on behalf of unions, that means you got to know how a city works. If you can navigate pension reform with the PEPRA back in 2012, which our first round of pension reform to address our unfunded liabilities and our public sector workers' pensions, which we're going to have to do again soon, which essentially created a two-tier workforce and incredibly complex collective bargaining agreements. And you could do that at the same time as fighting for wages that people lost during the first recession that we're going to repeat again, if not worse. Then yeah, I can run the city of Oakland. But that ain't even what we need right now, because I can hire people to do that. Oakland needs an actual leader. I'm serious, right? We need a leader who can actually lead, have conviction, have courage. But first, what I want to see in this election is an agreement of facts. And I want to see a punishment in the form of no votes for anyone who claims crime is down or who tries to gaslight us about the crime, and then at the same time tell these people who are begging them for safety that they're going to help them. No, you're not going to help them. You can't even admit that the crime is bad. You can't even admit that despite our eviction moratorium, we grew our homelessness by 24%. Those numbers do not work. Every other place around us decreased marginally, 1 or 2% here and there. and we grew 24%.
That's why.
Why?
That's why, Seneca.
You know why? They let you do whatever you want to do here. I'm going to wrap it up with that, but no more of that. We're not going to do whatever you want to do in this city. You're not going to come to this city to burn out cars, steal from people. It's not people from Oakland doing it. They are coming here. We are being seized. We are under siege by surrounding areas, and it's escalated up to organized crime. This is not even crime of opportunities anymore. You got people cutting holes in ceilings. You got Ocean's 11 in our streets, stealing from our neighbors, stealing our livelihood and our promise, while these other people are running for office trying to get a promotion when they're failing right now and can't even admit that the crime is down. So I'm an angry candidate, but I'm also a happy candidate because I love democracy. And we had a talk yesterday. People voting silent. This ain't the internet. This ain't social media. People voted silent. And I believe that Oakland voters this year are going to choose someone who they trust to keep us safe.
Aren't you guys teaming up now? You want to announce your official team up? I didn't do this knowing you all were teaming up. I did it.
We were just having some talks about Oakland. That's all.
Yeah. We're just talking, and we're going to do what we believe is obviously in the best interest of our campaigns and the best interest of the city.
Absolutely.
But one thing that I think that we left out, Seneca, sometimes really people speak not only from both sides of their mouth, but their actions speak louder than their words. Think about this. Mm-hmm. We're the only city that I know right now, I might be wrong, maybe one or two, but the only city that still the workers are still telecommuting. We're the only city that still have that we suspended the 10-day notice to schedule items, and they're still suspended. And you're talking about people that claim that they are the champions of openness and transparency and all of that, right? But they're still not even asking for workers to come back to City Hall. Still not implementing the 10-day notice, so the voters, so the people knows what is big pieces of legislation that are coming in front of the council, So, and they do it on purpose. I mean, they know, right? So and people just for some reason, Oakland voters are, I don't know, sometimes to their own detriment. We approve almost every ballot measure increasing taxes. We approve it. I can tell you publicly, Zennie, that I'm opposing publicly the progressive tax initiative that Nikki and Shang and all these people put on the ballot, because I think it's baloney. I think that they claim that they're gonna exempt some of the small micro businesses, blah blah blah. They're going after the big ones. Well, first, we don't have that many big ones, and secondly, when the big ones leave town, who's gonna pick up the pieces? Who's gonna pay the taxes in the city? The small businesses, right? These people are. Seneca's correct. These people are out of touch. They don't get it, and whatever sounds good, they say it, regardless if he's possible or not.
That's something that bothers me, you two, Ignacio. We have now 5 different versions of enhanced industrial finance industry legislation on the books, going back to SB 620 Beal, which was the father of them all, in September 15th of 2015, when Jerry signed them into law, Governor Brown. And yet Sacramento's used them, Riverside, Inland Basin. I can tick it off 7 different California cities that have used this legislation. Oakland's done none. The latest piece, AB 464 Mullen, allows that tax increment financing legislation that's produced by that provision to be used, guess what? Specifically to help small businesses, and this is in black and white, recover from the pandemic. Okay? Gavin signed that in the law last June. We haven't used it. And then Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf, who I might add, I remember when Libby called me to tell me that you hired her, Ignacio, many moons ago. Okay? So now we're getting you to fix the problems that your ex-employee caused. All right. Isn't that brilliant? Okay. Isn't that brilliant? All right. That was another reason why I thought about this. But anyway, here we are. When the pandemic first hit, Libby says, hey, we're going to have a task force to meet, you know, for 4 months to figure out solutions for when we get out of the pandemic. And I made a video and a blog post right then and there. You know what I said? Hey, Ms. Mayor, forget that. Why don't you think about using tax increment financing to get money in the businesses who are going to need it right now? That was March of 2020. You know, one of the people who sat on that task force was Mary Aldretti, who her and her husband Rick owned Lucas. She told me that she went 8 months after that unpaid, a total of 20 months without revenue. And here she gave her time to the city. And what did the city give her? Nothing. Nothing. Okay? Nothing. So meanwhile, then you've got a situation where you want to change the tax for everybody in the middle of the pandemic.
Right.
When you have legislation to get money in their damn pockets.
But that
You know
doesn't that doesn't fit their ideological, positions that they take.
Which is the problem.
It's sad. I mean, I think that Seneca's too young to remember, but Oakland was famous. We had three professional sport franchises. I don't know if I ever told you this, Zennie, but one time, I don't know who did, but somebody did an analysis of when we had three teams, back in the day.
Yep.
The A's, the Warriors, the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
240, I believe it was, nights and days a year. The Oakland was on national and international television.
Yeah.
When I left in 2020, it was three teams: Raiders, Warriors, A's.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody could have done nothing about the Warriors. Let's be honest. But the Raiders and the A's, we lost the Raiders, and now we're about to lose the A's. And I can tell you that there is.
Whoa! We're not gonna lose the A's.
I'm saying we are about to, Seneca. They haven't got off their ass. There's still no MOU. There's still nothing. Trust me. There's still no agreement.
Hey, Seneca, we're 3 years behind, and the problem, and the reason why I believe Ignacio's best for the job is because too often in modern Oakland, we work on Oakland time. We can call it, we call it. I'll call it C time. All right, Oakland O time. We work on Oakland time, and we forget that particularly we want to get other businesses in here. We want to be considered, for example, for events like the World Cup. In parentheses, here we are again on the outside looking into the World Cup as it comes to San Francisco. Okay, all right, because we don't focus on anyone else's timetable. And that was true with the Super Bowl. I had to actually go over Clint Bolden to just to get my document. All right, that's another story for another time, but it's exemplary of an Oakland that has historically looked at its own time frame, but you always had to have a firebrand like Ignacio when he was president of the council. And when he had Louis Cohen as his chief of staff, who knew how to legislatively maneuver around the bureaucracy to get things done. All right. So we need that. We need a person who understands the rules of Oakland City Hall so well they actually transcend the rules to get things done. And I
got an alternate for you. How about someone who don't even care or know about that, who's just going to do it the right way?
Well, that would be your alternate. That would be you, right?
There you go. But it's easier said than done when you can't fire the whole city.
Yeah,
so
because even if the roles are switched and you win, you need Ignacio because look, I can now at 60 say I've been around a while. Did I just say that? Anyway, okay. That aside, the simple fact of the matter is that Oakland's eaten people alive who thought that, or even when they were running for office. I remember Ted Dang. Remember Ted Dang?
I don't know Ted.
Ted Dang thought he had it. Thought he was going to kick Elihu's you-know-what and didn't.
Yeah.
And
one thing that I don't want to lose what you said. One thing is important, and I think that Seneca's probably understanding better than anybody. Yeah. When I was at the city council, a lot of the members were famous for, let's delay things. Let's do it next week, or let's do it in a month from now. Let's postpone it. Let's do this. Let's do that. I learned from my grandmother when I was probably 6 years old. Time is money, son. Businesses have to sport. Have to perform. You got to get revenue in order to stay alive. In order to do business. So the justice delayed is justice denied, right? Because if your permit is delayed, you delay your project. All of these things, Seneca does. I mean, time is money. It's just
we don't have much of it left in Oakland. We're gonna lose a whole bunch of money. Forget about these lawsuits that's getting filed, and I mean, the one about the eviction moratoriums could bankrupt. So, but that's the one that's in appeals right now with McClure and Tagami could bankrupt us. It's bad.
Do you know who signed the documents? And also, I'll say this. For those of you who might chime in, I beg to have Inside Terminal Solutions as my client, all right, regarding the Oakland bulk and oversized terminal. And the reason is that people don't know the real history behind it. And going back to 86, when it was on the Bay, listed in the Bay Seaport plan, and then at Oakland Sharing the Vision in 1991, it was picked as the #1 economic development objective by the 500 strong persons who were in that room, including myself and Ignacio. Remember that? So he went from forgetting about that and then just sort of letting the basin sit there. And then Phil had this idea, rather than doing a movie studio or what other people wanted to do, to say, hey, you know what? Phil Tagami, who was managing director of California Capital Investment Group, he had this idea of, hey, you know what? I want to do a bulk and oversized terminal. But he insisted on knowing that coal and sulfur and iron ore is dirtier than coal, FYI, by far, all right? Knowing that those would be hauled, he wanted covered cars. So much as a condition, they actually fired the initial partner, all right? Kinder fired him because they tried to do it open pit. He said no, he booted them, brought in John Siegel, rest in peace, he passed away this year, great guy, to actually do it the way Phil asked for, because Phil knew that'd be better for the environment, all right? But you had people working for these media organizations who were basically fueled by Tom Steyer. True story. They're giving money, to write. Hey, fine. I have no problem with how a person gets their money to do their media. Just be honest about it. And my point is, and the people who pointed fingers at other people like me are the ones who are not honest about how they get their money. Just saying. My point is this. I wanted to have Inside Terminal Solutions as a client because people didn't understand and don't understand that we had a plan to haul coal through here, not manufacture it, not store it, but to get it through. And the person who signed the contracts was Betsy Lake. The same Betsy Lake who is the assistant city administrator today. And, I think it's slick that Betsy can get these different, jobs and kind of move from one controversy to the other without people knowing. But I'm just telling you, okay? That's what happened.
Well, they responded to Naomi Schiff and the activists with no coal in Oakland. And I signed a no coal in Oakland petition because if you live in West Oakland and you're presented with, hey, there's environmental racism and there's coal going through Oakland and coal's nasty and it's a no-brainer. You don't think too much about it. You don't know that the city already made these deals and all of the stuff that you just said happened. You should sign a thing, and they count on that. That's how, for years, these activists have gotten support by just making sure that their framing was completely altruistic. And if you didn't look any further, then you would think that you were doing the right thing for your environment.
And something else that they didn't do, though, and I'm going to say straight out, and neither one of you have ever made a mistake like this, but they had no problem showing an all-white photograph saying no coal, knowing that the people who would employ them would be mostly black and in West Oakland. So basically, they were effectively taking employment opportunities away from those who were black in West Oakland who needed them, who may very well be homeless right now and still there, okay? Then when you pointed that out to them and then asked them, hey, where were you regarding trucks through West Oakland? You get a variety of excuses. You don't get the truth. They didn't bother the truckers because the truckers are both intellectual.
They're organized.
Right. And they're afraid of the truckers because they're men. They get out there and they're actually afraid to talk with them. Okay. They're afraid to confront them because they think they have an idea of the truckers that's really off the wall. That's true. Okay.
Let me tell you that, because I know the time is short, but let me tell you. So I get I don't know what the word will be, but Oakland used to be, I was very proud, and Seneca understand this better than probably average person. I was a labor guy I'm still that, but I was representing people for 50 years of my life, 48 years of my life. Oakland used to be a blue collar town. I used to represent 11 foundries in Oakland, 3,000 people, okay? And blue collar jobs that pay good salaries, pension, benefits, and all of that. Ask me how many we have now. We only have one, and it's about to leave. AB&I, the company, American Brass and Iron, been on 73rd and San Leandro Boulevard for 115 years, okay? Now, 3 months ago, Rob Banta and Barbara Parker filed a lawsuit against them on the Proposition 46, alleging, right, that it's environmental issues, right? That company has 100% compliance record with Bay Area Quality Management, with all the agencies, okay? But now they leave it in December. 200 people, Zennie, 200 jobs, 200 families. They're going to be looking for work to try to find jobs that pay what they make now, $40, $50.
They didn't get an offer to move or a buyout?
No, they actually moved. They're moving to Texas because they part of a big corporation. So they took the opportunity now that the city is suing them. So they moved to Tyler, Texas. So they move in all the work. They're going to offer the.
Actually, here's what AB 464 and tax increment financing can save that in business. And you have another business that we're just letting go away.
Save it if you want to save it. They don't want to save it. Let me tell you, their mentality is they want this fancy, IT, all the stuff that the average person, the average worker, the average people that I represent. We need the variety of jobs that people can feel. Not utopia, but we gotta provide that. We have the responsibility to provide a mixed set of jobs so that different level of skills around people. Otherwise,
not just all either tech or service.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's
government or NGOs.
But you know what? If we don't stop it, all of Oakland's gonna wind up being dumped in Georgia, where I'm at right now. You got most of the movie industry here now for that reason. We didn't subsidize the movie industry, and then we did. It was too little, too late. And now you got 492 projects going on.
Look at cannabis. Cannabis is the same way.
Cannabis.
But with respect to the movie industry, I want to point that out pointedly, okay? Because the movie industry was a strength of California in terms of production. And even though the same legislation is there now, which could be used to help businesses in the movie industry or get them to Oakland, we can steal it for Oakland, right? Nothing. We have let a $2 billion project sit right under our collective butts. While
it takes work, Vinny. It takes work and it takes a champion. Seneca, don't misunderstand me. I said we are about to lose the A's because it's no champion. I have seen no individual that will be the mayor or a council member that has owned the issue.
Yeah, let me try to go through the motions, but it hasn't stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you and I are going to do whatever we can to keep him because it's the last team that we have in Oakland. And I can tell you that our reputation is on the line. I love to hear some people talking about, we're going to bring another professional sport franchise. Yeah, good luck. Because I think that when people see, the inability, the incapability of people to even be upfront and support the team, forget it. But anyways,
another issue with Vegas is you make sports teams are at least a multi-decade investment. Let's call it 20 years on the short end of, we're going to invest in this market and get a stadium built or whatever. All signs are pointing to Nevada being unlivable because of how hot things are getting. So Oakland's always going to have that good weather we have. So they should stay here. We can keep having fans come here. We're going to have tourism here just because of our livability.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say about sports, though. There is a study. Let me just say this without getting into the details. Professional sports in your town increases your tourism. It increases your marketing. I'm 3,000 miles from Oakland, and yet it feels like Oakland has died because I don't hear about Oakland on national television.
Exactly. That's what Ignacio was saying. 200. Yeah. I mean, we were always on national television.
I can feel it. That's what pisses me off. I can feel the death of our city nationwide. I try to tell the mayor that. She doesn't get it. You know, and the reason why I didn't back any of the current council members is because it's nothing personal to any of them. Well, except for one. And I have no problem in admitting that. But I'll just get that out of the way right now. I do not appreciate Sheng Tao having behind closed doors meeting with me on a Zoom, but then doesn't want to tell anybody about it, and then wants to ask me about enhanced infrastructure financing district legislation or tax increment financing, knowing I'm an expert. But then when I ask her for an interview as one of maybe two people who are Black who own their own media organizations focused on Oakland, okay, never grants me an interview. All right. Now, you want to say that's selfish? I say this. It's not selfish. It's real. I have to run a business. She had to do her business too, and I took time out for her, right? But she can't take time out for me to give her a vessel to inform the public and answer the questions I have? No. We'll do it for somebody white in a second. And that's why I did it, okay? It was wrong as the daily is wrong. You don't treat people like that. These guys haven't done that to me. Nobody else did, all right? And as if Sheng has the answer. Sheng worked for my good friend Rebecca Kaplan. She did a great job for her, but Sheng is about her ambition. She is not about treating people the right way. And I'm saying this just like it sounds because I'm pissed off with the way she's acted. I don't like it. And I think that she needs to stop and take stock. Okay. She talks about how much money she's raised and everything.
She can stop and take about 80 days to reflect.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Well,
elections and
but I'm being candid and real about that. All right. It's wrong to make me like the monster in the box that like there's something wrong with me where she can't say, yeah, I talked to Zennie and he gave me good ideas about blah, 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 blah. But you can't talk to me in public. No way.
One of the things that I learned a long time ago, right, that most politicians are afraid of the press, right? They're afraid to expose themselves, unless you have some people. Remember, some people even stage everything, the questions, this, that, or the other, because they got
to control it. They got to control it.
I can tell you that you know this, Zennie. I was probably the most open person to the media. I don't give if it was a good thing or a bad thing. It's your responsibility as an elected official to face the music, because that's why you run for office. That's why your constituents have the right to hear where you are and where you stand on issues, or not to be prepared. All this stage stuff. You gotta be natural and you gotta be real. And I think that some people are afraid of those things, right? So
I want to add to that real quick. I'm glad you said that, but there's another problem that as we as African Americans start our own media companies, my buddy Jamal Finkley started Black Tree Media, covered the ground. He's 14 years. Every single year, Black entertainers, he's Black, would pass him by, okay? After 14 years, on the 14th year, he got tired of it and made a video. Gucci Mane's done it. I can tick it off a number of entertainers who look like me, who don't treat us right. And what we're saying is, hey, look, but they'll go to white media in a second, all right? And that's got to stop. We could talk for another hour, not here, of course, about why that's the case, all right? But we're tired of this stuff. Mm-hmm. We're tired of it. And same thing. Sheng will say, my boyfriend is white, is black and everything. I don't care. All right? I don't care. Hey, the bottom line is treat your Black media right. That's me. That's Paul Kopp. Anybody else around who may be in Oakland who has a camera who wants to interview you, and tell them the team.
It's not her decision, Zennie.
Oh, all right.
She has, don't ask for independent thought from candidates who aren't independent. It's as nice as I can put that. But I got to get going. But I want to ask you guys.
Yeah, let us know when is the next time, Zennie.
Hey, this door is always open to you all, and Seneca is signed up as a vlogger, so he can let her rip anytime he wants to and bring you on.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, I got to get better. Okay. I'm kind of like I'm more old school than not. We got some stuff coming. But yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that, about what we were talking about earlier. I just don't want to have it on
We will.
the record.
Got it. Okay, cool. You got it.
Thank
All
you,
right.
gentlemen.
Hey, you got
Yep.
it. Thank you, Ignacio. Oh, by the
Thank you,
Ignacio,
guys.
Ignacio, I want to thank you for 1991. After the JPA meeting, when you informed me that my Super Bowl effort was the only positive news the city had gotten about the Coliseum in 2 years.
No, that was good back then, Zennie. You did your thing.
We had a lot of fun, man. I mean, you know, we had a lot of fun. That was some great times.
All right, bro.
All right, man.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, and
See you soon, Seneca.
folks, vote for this guy. Vote for Ignacio for mayor.
Who knows?
Seneca for number 2. Remember that. Ignacio number 1, Seneca number 2. There you go.
Vámonos, Seneca.
Got it.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you guys.
Peace.
Peace. Stick around the background, guys. Hey, stick around the background. I'll just close the. Hey, folks, they're going to stick around the background, but I'm ending the broadcast right now.